Hello, Skelevaderites, friends of Skelevader, and folks that are looking at this thumbnail saying, Weekly Weirdo, what the heck is that? Thanks for being here today. This is episode 22 of the Weekly Weirdo. For those of you that are new to this little show, it's a fairly short but enjoyable little foray into my personal collection. I usually pick a figure from my collection that I know I don't want to get rid of, and talk about it and sort of delve into my history with that character, or thing, or group of characters, depending. So today I got a little something special planned. This is an exciting one, and I've been noticing folks in the chat. So let's have a look at everybody who's here. First of all, we've got Pop Actor here. Thank you so much for being here, man. Great seeing you here. I've been having fun communicating with Pop Actor over the last few days on Instagram and on Facebook. So it's good talking to you, Pop Actor. Cobweb, same with this guy too. We've been going back and forth. Good to see you. Great to see you here, Cobweb. And JMax77, great to see you. Now, JMax77 said, any guesses? It can be like a game of Clue and see if we can figure it out each week. So yeah, so I went ahead and I said in the chat earlier before we went live, yeah, let's see what those guesses are. And then I threw this out because I'm excited that somebody's finally maybe trying to guess before the shows happen. I've been adding vague clues to the weekly pre-show thumbnails. So if you watch this, you know that the thumbnail that I post before the show goes on is always saying, hey, what's it going to be? Or the information down below the thumbnail is asking, what's it going to be? And then the thumbnail has some anomalous stuff in there. But lately I've been trying to be vague in adding some clues to those. MotuOriginsCork chose Stay Puffed. No, that is not today's weirdo, but that will be coming up in the future. Those of you who saw, I just received a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the mail from Aaron Davies, and that guy is right here sitting on my desk, and I love it. Thank you so much, Aaron. If you haven't watched the video that I posted earlier, feel free, folks, to go have a look at that. It's fun. I love that. Love this character. And then let's see. Oh, Duchess is here. Great to see you. And then I said there was a pretty distinct clue in the IG story I posted earlier today. So let's see if anybody went and had a look at that to see if they could figure it out. Let's see. We've got, JMax77 said KRANG. All right. So yes, that is the weekly weirdo for today. KRANG. Thank you for noticing that. I did a really simplified drawing of a shape that kind of looks like KRANG in my IG story. So way to pick up on the clue. And yes, JMax77. And yes, everybody watching, do have a look at those clues before these weekly weirdos go live and see if you can guess it. I'll try and continue to do that. So yes, we are talking about KRANG today, and I'm excited to talk about KRANG. I don't really talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles very often because my interest in them, just to be honest, is fairly limited. I like them. I appreciate them. I liked them when they became popular. I read those Eastman Laird comic books when they first came out because they were cool and they were edgy, and you know me, I love my weirdos. But there's one character that has risen to the top of my interest in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so much so that I don't feel a need to have any of the figures except for this one. Although I'm a huge Bebop fan, and I've been contemplating getting a Bebop just so he can fit in with my pig head and my Gamorrean guard. I'm on the edge. You know, if I see him on clearance, I might pick him up, for $5. So, but I also am a fan of the vintage figures, or saying vintage is kind of silly for me because it was early 90s when those the figures came out after the cartoon became so popular. But yes, we are talking about KRANG today. All right, so let's see who else is in the chat. We got John, Figuratively Speaking, great to see you. And everyone's talking to each other, which is fantastic. Pop actor, weirdo is becoming a compliment for you. That's great. It took me a while to figure that out. This is a compliment. If you fit into that category, that means you're unique. And all the figures that I collect have a kind of unique quality in that regard. The weirdos always stand out to me. And they always have a tendency to be villains. I mean, in Masters of the Universe, there are a ton of super weird heroes. And probably that's why I like Masters the most, because there are almost equal amount weirdo heroes and weirdo villains. But yeah. All right. Yeah, Bobby's here. Party can start. All right. Good to see you. All right. So JMax77 saying I was getting a little older with turtles. Yeah, me too. But I still dig them, and just not quite as much as the earlier stuff. Right. Yes. Those Eastman layered comic books are pretty cool. And I will always sort of have a deep appreciation for them. And the cartoon's fun. The movies are fun. The first two, movies are, they're an attempt at making the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles exciting and on the big screen, and I can appreciate that. I don't really have an appreciation for any of the movies that followed, but maybe you all will change my opinion on that. All right. Yeah, Skele and his island of misfit toys. I was thinking about, if I ever opened up a toy store, I was telling the family about this. If I ever opened a toy store, which would be an insane endeavor because I already have too much on my plate, but nor do I have the funds to do so, but I would call it Skele's Island of Misfit Toys. So JMac77, you're right there in my brain. Okay. And there's a whole conversation going on here. I'll have to check in on that in a little bit. Let's get into it. So this particular, I only have one version of this character, and it's the character that a version of the character that I fell in love with when those toys first started coming out, when those first toys started hitting the shelves in the early 90s. And it's this version of KRANG in his little scooter robot thing with the gun and the tube. I never tried to get a vintage version of this through eBay or anything like that. Like, that's how deep my interest lies, right? But when I saw the announcement that this guy would be coming out new, but basically the same exact mold as the vintage toy, I got excited because that showed that you could get one complete, which is a little bit hard to find, at a reasonable price. And when they came out and they're like $11 or $11.99, I was really excited. So this guy, and I think I was searching and searching. I saw people were posting him online, finding him in Targets and in Walmarts. But every time I would go, I couldn't find him. And for several months there during the winter, I was like, hey, if anybody sees him, let me know on Facebook. But couldn't find him. And now you can find him pretty easily, especially since the new Mutant Mayhem movie is out, and people are really there's a whole resurgence of interest in the Turtles. I mean, I feel like the TMNT never really goes away. It's like a thing that it keeps riding waves of resurgence, like one after another. So, I found this guy finally, and I don't, this guy, I don't have a lot of information on him. I know he's from Dimension X. I know he's a Utrom or Utrom. I don't know how we pronounce it. Um, but I just love that the evil overlord or evil genius is just a brain with tentacles and beady little eyes and a creepy little mouth. And the voice, the cartoon voice of his is fantastic. And so I love this guy. He's super strange. He's the brains behind the operation of baddies. I feel like uh, he and Shredder can't really exist without each other. I mean, there's some experts here that'll probably disagree with me on that, but that's the impression I got. I love this guy. So I wanted to try something today. Well, let's have a look at the chat and see what everybody's saying. I really love the TMNT cartoon and first movie. The first movie is great, right? After the second movie was kind of disappointing and your interest dwindled. Yes, so the second movie, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Second movie, when I saw the first movie, I was having so much fun with that. It was so much fun. It was so great. And because I was a fan of Krang, I thought for sure that in the second movie, Krang would appear. And then there were these rumors circulating that Krang would appear in the second movie too, that there would be a Bebop and Rocksteady, that Krang would be there. I was real excited. I was hoping I'd see Krang. And apparently there was this subplot. I don't know if that's just part of the rumor that surrounded the whole thing, but there's a subplot that was not included. Let's see. MotuOriginsCork. Oh, by the way, in Germany and probably other countries, we called them the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, that's hilarious. So yeah, and Vanilla Ice, right? Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, I get it. I'm tired too, man. Bobby was saying, no, it's because I'm a big Welcome Back Cotter fan. That's awesome. I'm not sure. I'll have to see what that conversation is pertaining to, but it's hilarious. Yeah, for sure. Welcome Back Cotter is awesome. So when I went to see the second movie, I back then it was hard to, identify, or there weren't, YouTubers talking about spoilers and stuff like that. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. But as I was watching, I soon realized there was not going to be a Krang. But there was this one moment where I thought that there was going to be a Krang in this movie. And it's this scene. It took me a while to find it earlier today, but I did find it. I want to add it here. They're entering the TGRI lab for the first time. And there's this like goopy, globby thing in this glass pyramid. And with high definition and all this stuff, and seeing it now today, all these years, I thought, man, it must have just been like a set piece of a puppet of Krang that they just had sitting in there, because I honestly thought that looks like a little brain creature. But I think there's some color elements here, like maybe it's a meteor or something. But if I remember correctly, this wasn't really explained. But this very well, in my mind, I thought this is the closest we're going to get to seeing Krang on the big screen. And so there is, in this image here, is the closest thing that I feel I've gotten on the big screen, at least from the 90s movies. I know that Krang makes an appearance in the newer films, and I did watch some clips of those, and I just thought, it doesn't really do it for me. But I do want to try something here. I just realized this hole in the bottom of Krang is pretty large, and guess what? It looks like it could be the same size as the neck of Origins figures. So let's get the Skeletor. I want to see. I haven't tried this yet. I just want to see if he'll be able to like sit on there or fit on there. This is the Skeletor with the articulated jaw from the Screech Skeletor 2-pack. And if I put this. So obviously this might get in the way if I put it on there, but it's pretty deep. That hole's pretty deep there. So he doesn't. All right, so customizers out there, This does fit on there. You might have to glue it on in order for it to stay, but I've pressed it on there pretty good, and it it stays a little bit. It's a little loose. If I knock it, it'll fall off. But there's the Skeletor KRANG variant that you've all been waiting for. Yeah. So Cobweb saying I used to use it as a finger puppet. Totally. I remember doing that a little bit with this character, with the vintage one. But yeah, I love this guy. Eventually, I might, if I can find him at a reasonable deal, might get the vintage one to just have him next to the newer one, and do a little comparison. But super weird character. The blue veins, the pink globby shape of the guy. I just love it. Absolutely love it. He's super gross. But yeah, so today's weekly weirdo is KRANG. I was disappointed. Yeah, Krangator. That's right. That's right, John. So now you can put, if you have the newer KRANG, you can put that on the head of your Origins. You can replace your Origins heads with KRANG heads. I want to see an army of KRANG Origins, you know, muscle-bound bodies, folks. So have fun with that. And thank you all so much for being here. I want to send a huge thank you to the patrons of this channel. You know, Don Roberts, Carol Geist, Julia Honer, John from Figuratively Speaking, Brick Something, MotuOriginsCork, Thanos Copter, and My Buddies Customs. I appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for being here. And Bobby, are you getting the Jada Toys Chester Cheetah? No, I have not even seen that yet. I didn't know that they would. I don't know. There's been a few. Was it revealed during San Diego Comic-Con? It must have been like in the last couple days. I haven't seen images of that yet. That's tempting, although probably not. Chester Cheetah, you know, when it comes to cats as characters, I think I'm more drawn to Tony the Tiger, maybe. But Chester Cheetah is great. Thank you for letting me know about that. How about you? Are you gonna get him? That's awesome. No, pop actor, I'm not going to sing Ice Ice Baby, but you know, the song that David Bowie and Queen team up that Vanilla Ice stole that riff from is one of my favorite songs ever. So Bobby, no, I'm not going to get it. All right, well, you and I are in the same boat with Chester Cheetah. MotuOriginsCork, thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. Really appreciate that. All the way from Ireland, making a donation to the channel. Deeply appreciated. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Yes, Under Pressure. And I was under pressure to think of the name of it, and I couldn't, right? But yes. How much is a cheetah? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. That's hilarious. But I did, you know, speaking of Jada Toys, and speaking of advertising icons, I did pre-order the Boo Berry glow-in-the-dark ghost because he's reasonably priced and he's absolutely gorgeous. And you know, Bobby and I share a love for the cereal monsters, and so yeah. Oh, save your cat toy money for Cat Slayer playset. Yeah. Are any of you guys investing in that giant Thundercats Cat Slayer playset? I know I'm definitely not. I'm not a huge Thundercats fan. I was always team Masters of the Universe. I watched the cartoons, but mainly, like, I don't know, I just was really drawn to Masters of the Universe and not really so much Thundercats. Though in my later years, like now, I have a deep appreciation for the characters from Thundercats for sure. Haven't gone back and rewatched the cartoons, but I need to tell you, if I was a fan of Thundercats, I would be really, really on the fence and excited, but also, you know, scared of such a beautiful object that Super 7 is putting out. That playset is phenomenal. The pictures, that's like everything that a toy collector would want to have. I mean, that Snake Mountain was amazing, right? But that Cat Slayer playset's phenomenal. John, figuratively speaking, said, yes, I want that Cat Slayer. Well, man, if you get it, I'm excited to see your review on your channel. Can't Touch This is a ripoff. Yes, absolutely. Both Can't Touch This and that Vanilla Ice song are both ripoffs of fantastic songs. So yeah, Cobwebs is confessing that his ex was a cheetah. Does that mean that your ex liked Cheetos or what? I don't know. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you all being here. And you know, MotuOriginsCork, thank you so much for your donation to the channel. If you're out and about and you're looking at the vintage style figures, and if they happen to go on clearance in your area, let me know, because I'm probably gonna hold off on getting Bebop until I see him as a clearance item. But definitely I'm a huge fan of KRANG, and I could not resist him. I'd be perfectly happy if KRANG was always just the only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure in my collection. I love this guy. I love how weird he is. I love his colors. I mean, look at the colors on his little robot thing, his little scooter robot things, gray, blue, and purple. Love it. Man, anytime I see a combination of purple and pink, I get real excited. Anyways, folks, I also want to say real quickly, if you haven't gone out to see the Barbie movie, that thing is amazing. That movie is phenomenal. It immediately made it to my list of top favorite movies. I have an ongoing list, but usually like my top 10 favorites are eternal top 10 favorites. It made it to that list. It is really good. I can't say that enough. I was very, very, very impressed, and the whole family was too. It was really good. Greta Gerwig's an amazing director, and if I'm going to say this, if Mattel can learn anything from the Barbie movie and its performance, it's this. Mattel, if you're watching, which I know you're not, but if you happen to run across this and you're watching, why did the Barbie movie work so well? It was written well. It's incredibly smart. It's funny, but it's also serious. It's cutting. It cuts a deep cut when it's as a critique of human beings and what it means to be male or female or otherwise. And it's phenomenal. It's really good. So if you're going to make a Masters of the Universe movie, Mattel, you got to get a fantastic director who has a track record of good movies. You got to get an excellent writer who has a track record of excellent writing, who knows the franchise. And I think it could work. I'm sad that they didn't, that the current Masters of the Universe movie project has folded, but watching Barbie gave me hope. Like, if Mattel is smart about this, they'll look at what happened and they'll make, I could see an excellent Masters of the Universe movie come out in that regard. Yes, MotuOriginsCork, absolutely, right? I mean, that was a fantastic rendition of that book. I totally agree with you, 100%. And Pop Actor, yeah, that's fine. I never collected Barbie toys. Our daughters never really got into Barbie toys. They got into other things. But you don't have to like Barbie toys to like this movie. That's why it's so good. And that's why it's so successful. It's incredible. So, and right at the end here, sorry, bro, man, I am closing up shop, but welcome to it. I'm going to be ending the session now, but today's weekly weirdo for you, I'm just going to go over it again. We were talking about KRANG. So definitely go back and watch this, watch the video after the live stream is over. Talk about KRANG, my relationship to KRANG. But yes, this is one of my favorite figures in my collection. And so thank you so much for being here, bro, man. Love your work. Glad you're here. Everybody who's in the chat, really appreciate you being here. Thank you for just tuning in. That's generous enough. MotuOriginsCork, thank you for your generosity. Obviously, that's amazing. But really appreciate you all being here. Really appreciate you watching. Everybody, whether you're a patron or not, I appreciate you. You are all awesome. So now I'm going to say the long goodbye and just let you know that every week those thumbnails provide little hints as to what I'm going to be talking about. They're vague hints. See if you can guess what the next one's going to be.